Hi, my name is Tara Hecker, and I am presenting my level of Blockmesh. The story here is you're a alchemist apprentice, and you come back from your adventure to find that the city has been overtaken by some enemies, and your task is to find out what is going on and how you can kind of fix the situation. So starting off, have the player kind of coming in. What this is supposed to be is a drawbridge that the player can activate to bring down eventually when I get to blueprint in it. And there's some indication of some water and some small vegetation because this is kind of like a desert oasis environment. The enemies glowing in red are placed around the level. The player will have the ability to crouch and sneak around, and they have to stay out of sight of the enemies as they go through the level. Otherwise, they get caught, and it's kind of game over. Start over. You have your three different paths, one going straight this way, and one going this way, and one going this way. There's a couple different alternatives to going down each of these paths as well. So like for example, you can go up here, and I placed these rugs to kind of give the player some breadcrumbs to follow. They can also come through here, and when they get to this kind of cul-de-sac area, they'll see two sets of stairs, one leading back to the middle path and one leading up to a kind of library room where you have what's going to be a secret bookshelf that when you activate the book, it will open up the secret room, and that's where the player can find this scroll, alchemist scroll with the potion ingredients for the main objective. There's also these coins, kind of these pile of coins laying around, also as kind of breadcrumbs, but as well as being a optional objective for the player so that they can kind of pick those up, if they want, as they go through. And that just leads back to the middle, but I'll go down over here to the right. And same over here, the rugs are the breadcrumbs. This kind of tapestry up here pointing upwards is indication of like a leading line, using leading lines to show the player like, hey, you can kind of maybe go up here. There's kind of like a little bit of step you can go, and then there's this jump over here, and this will lead them down to the middle path, but also in a way its own path because it veers off this way into this kind of potion room. And you have these different potions that you can pick up, will eventually be able to pick up and put into a cauldron to mix. Because your alchemist master, has been locked up in the dungeon, and they're very ill, and they're the only ones who can kind of stop these, enemies with a magic spell. But in order to make them feel better, you need to brew up the potion, and the recipe for that potion is in that library room. Going forward through this kind of like main hall of the castle, you have three different paths. One, since you can crouch around, these pillars here are kind of to help the player like use as areas where they can hide from the enemy's sight, so they can crouch behind them. Same with over here, and kind of get some some blocking from the site there as well as the other side. And the lights in this room are primarily over to the left-hand side, then the right. There's only just one there, but because I put on the left-hand side to show some breadcrumbs leading the player to this stairwell that leads to the dungeon. And you have these dungeon cells, some coins to pick up, and the key. And the key is actually the key that opens up the potion room. And your alchemist master, he's kind of supposed to be sitting there, hands you the key, and hands you the key and tells you, that there's a recipe in the library for you to go find to heal him. And so the key will let you into the potion room, and then you find your way into the library to get the recipe for that. And another optional objective for the player is since they can crouch and sneak around, if they can get behind the enemy, they can loot them, as well as picking up rocks and throwing them to make a distraction so that the enemy will go over to where the distraction sound came from. And that's it for my level. Thank you.